I'm going to show you how to make a histogram very easily in StatCrunch. So you can access StatCrunch by going to your home page in Pearson's MyLab Statistics and choosing the StatCrunch menu tab. So here I've got the number of credit hours completed by Math 205 elementary statistics students. So you can see here I've input my data into this first column that I titled, well, I should probably shorten that title, the number of credit hours completed. So if I want to make a histogram, I'm going to go to the graph tab here, and you can see that StatCrunch can make lots of different types of graphs, but we're interested in a histogram because we have numerical data. So just choose the data column that you want to use. So I'm going to choose that. And then down here you can either choose to create a frequency graph, a histogram of the frequency or the relative frequency. So we can do both. Let's start with the frequency. Here, you're going to tell the software where you want to start your first bin. So I'm using my lowest class bound of 8.5 and my class width of 23. And then you can also do things like title your axis. So this would be number of credits. Here we'll title it frequency. You can title it credit hours completed by Math 205 students. Maybe you want to call it something like that. Okay, and then just press compute. And then you can see here that we've got that nice graph, and let's take a look at this histogram. So notice that down at the bottom here, the scale for the number of credits, you've got your lower class bound and your upper class bound for your first class. Notice there are no gaps, no overlapping, and then the y-axis here, we've got the count or the frequency. So let's repeat that process real quickly, and let's create a relative frequency graph just so you can see that the relative frequency histogram and the frequency histogram are going to look very similar, where the only difference is the label on the y-axis. So again here, I'm going to choose relative frequency this time. I'm going to start with the same lower class bound of 8.5 and the same class width of 23. And then this time, I'll label this number, so it's still number of credits, but the y-axis here, I'll call it relative frequency. And then again, you can still title it the same. Credit hours completed by Math 205 students. And then press compute. And then there we have it. So again, notice that the shape of the two graphs are very similar. The x-axis is the same because the number of credit hours doesn't change. It's the same data set, so we still have the same lower and upper class boundaries for our 5 classes. The class width is the same. The only difference is the scale of the y-axis. So notice here on the left, I've got the relative frequency versus on the right here, I've got the frequency. But again, notice how the shape of the two histograms are the same because it's the same data set.